So, did you listen? This is policy tool, which are very young, maybe 40 years of age. So, I mean, if you look over U.S. military, which is hysterical to us, which is you, right? Well, if you're the only one left of the thing from the Holy Land a long time ago. But there's not much more you can do but get banged around, which is a difficult thing. So your father convinces you to work for half price, I mean half minimum wage, to pay the old man that used to live here, which I think was the manager of his properties, which is sold to Frank Shields. Your father needed a bunch of cash. So there's something there, but a long went their own ways. So if, which I think they signed your paperwork when you're 6 or 7 years old at this house to go into a pedophilia neighborhood where people are arrested for that, which was no more of that going on to make a movie and show how kids are taken advantage of. And that don't work out as it worked out. And then you're left with Phyllis and Michael and went to Ronkonkoma to work, which the whole program of the land of nativity, if Adam and Eve were 5 years old, then what could a child do if you remember when you were a young child? I mean, they'll only do it again, because a lot of people, spring break and then, like who? I mean, who would know? But at one time, they just used to leave their children in this community because it was a retirement community. Community. I don't think it's a village; it is a community. This might be the village here. Then, if if a parent, especially military people, would take it off the child, or at least one or two, then they would issue them a check. But I would think they took that check away when you were 18 years old, right? It's a very difficult thing for your mother at this point. It's true. Your father has had a bunch of money for his house for you to have the 4 year. This is the story of your life, and you saw the whole thing. Yeah, it's possible, just like you said, two people come into the neighborhood that you sign up for at the hospital to run off a bunch of plans and take your money away from you and lie all over the place. This way, that way, this way, that way. And then for somebody like you, it puts you into a foreign loop. Then you continually get ripped off. But if they do that, if they took your, I mean, you all you ever do get is food, water, clothing, and shelter. Money. Like you said, it's for not for one person. It doesn't work. So if you look at a situation like this, woman, that's a serious problem. So you don't do that, enjoy yourself, and then you'd probably be born again in 2064. It'll run the program. Or a different man, a different woman, just like you said. I says, we're thinking about it, other than trying to keep you alive. So the scientists in NASA were on it. Grumman was, and Long Island was, so does Washington. So yeah, at one point, we couldn't stop laughing. At one point, real funny guy. Because we thought with the system, there's nothing that could be done about it. Then, but this book does say something, and you should always have faith in God and Christ. Because we really do believe that, and that you're saying things like driving across country, which are for people in eternal damnation. For as we know, it gets worse and worse and worse. More pain, so more pain. It never does that. Okay. Yeah. Though it be that as it may, like you guys kidding around with that, it doesn't mean I don't take your blood sample and make a new one, right? So, I mean, it would be that way for military, police, deputies, and firemen. But at one point, there was nothing else. There was nothing else. So you did the right thing. You went to the fire department and marshal to get, get off the ground, which means that's it for you. Other than having a couple of beers, and then out here and try to quit smoking, but like I told you, you have a germ on the inside of your chest, which is probably the filters of the cigarettes. But I don't see you do something else with a chronic chest, right? Yes, now your shoulders all sort of, and that usually means something. Like if they're gonna put that tattoo on somebody, this would not until I throw a punch. And and break his feet and everything else. But usually that's a surname into DOD Galactic. So if you wanted to go to heaven, you have to fly up into the ozone layer. I just saw this one man in this neighborhood fly up there, also interested in dark shields in Skype, right? And then you see, and you saw the lights and stuff. So somebody like that had military training could come down here and wipe you out if you ever found out that happened in the hospital. And you don't know. That's a whole different thing. I mean, there's no way you would know. I mean, it was or was not her. So enjoy yourself. And then it only gets worse for all people. Nobody makes it. All guilty. So we had to ask you for your opinion of that book. And you gave us the 5,000 people. It's not like I was going to pay for it. Either way, it's acceptable. Anybody wants to look at it, go look at it. And either way, with all this different stuff you did to it, we're certainly not paying for it. I mean, once again, the nation is broke, no matter what you hear. Over here on that news was that the U.S. military has been called out to a fight with the MD-80 French soldiers. A totally different thing with them. I don't think you understand that culture at all. You know what your father taught you, and the French culture is not anything that you know about, right? So there's 7 floors to heaven, nobody makes it, right? So we go off there, they do too. It's a digital right. Like if you drew a line on a picture every so often, every thought the person had, for example, is there all throughout the life. So in the movie making, which they want you to, I don't want you to, is like if I need you, you do that stuff. I mean, that's amazing. They couldn't figure that out for 17 years. And, you know, like you're disappointed in yourself. But you are 54 and 21. And at that point, maybe it took you 30 seconds to each range. So this was, maybe it took you 15 minutes. There's so many important things that you showed us and figured out that we did not know. Which, if you get a calculator, you said it's degrees, radians, or radians, right? Yeah, I don't think they knew that. Also, sine 45, 45 sine. So if you want this calculator, the kid is taught in college the wrong thing, and then ruin a machine shop, ruin a $6 million machine, not realizing they just, but that's the cost of the American people to vote for a war. So this guy, first of all, I think you're right. I think this is 20 years ago that you're watching. And then I think you're right too, that if you put this in here, you get the news stuff, say ABC, NBC, CBS. And then if anything you want the Library of Congress, you got that too. But you wouldn't need to know what to type in there. Yes. So that's really good. I mean, and that's really it. I mean, you signed into 110 jobs, they all told you no because you're diagnosed, and that would be the case. So if a psychiatrist decides not to give you a check, how would I know? Well, actually, I just want to put you in action, see what you could do. And I don't think you really stole it. What you do, you stole an apple pie and a Diet Coke in all those years, right? And how many years have been? I mean, since you're 27. Which, I mean, your father ever give you good, you're going to ask him, right? Because the deputy clerk over there, he wants $400 for it. So it's a tough situation if you head to the north to work, back to Long Island. And no Missouri, no this and that. I mean, that's a different thing, right? Because as far as I know, they took the computer system of Long Island and printed out $10 trillion worth of checks based on the state being worth $1,300. And totally, like they did anything, they built a bunch of houses and roads for themselves. And not ever, we want, even though it reports it was done. So there's the F-35. There is the A6 in Florida. Never did. They don't do nothing but sit there and request more money with some sort of lie. And and that somehow these people are here to get people like you to make it. But if you're looking at your pictures and stuff, they would not know. It's 54. You're not really banned from people checking with glorified people. As far as we were concerned in this Bible, God had a son, which was to you, somebody that reads the Bible, right? I mean, all men that did. And there was a victor, the one that achieved glorified God. And I think that's what you experienced, which I mean, swollen here, all this, and your penis is disappearing, and all this other different stuff, while people are trying to do science. And then I don't think what they're trying to do is destroy that person. I mean, nobody wants to see a kid like you suffer like that. What these men would do to you in child damnation. I mean, no checking on them doing all this different stuff. But it's set up that way to one, set it up, build it, and then destroy the whole thing. This way it can't be done again by anybody unless I say they do. Okay, so we'll have to see if you want to. If I mean, it could be old news, but then again, you heard something crash in this part of the year. Yes. Right. So in this situation, you saw something in heaven which is interesting, right? Yeah, and you do believe it. Then you saw the man appear over here with these other two men who were raping that man's wife. So in this military, I saw that I have to do something about that, which and you can't throw a punch even if you try. There's nothing for these people to come in here, which that man Michael told you. No, it's was and not to be interested in the wife, but think about it, right? Is just it's and there's nothing you can do about that, especially now, right? Because that's not anything you do. Well, we did say there's no point no more with this whole thing, just to execute everybody and the domino effect to get rid of everybody. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you look at yourself in a paid off house in your own home, right? Already law enforcement looked at it, and they hadn't done nothing wrong in 19 years. The money was paid back. And no, the Democrat Party don't want it. They are working. They're still working, and certainly not the military one either, or the Air Force. The machine shops or whatever they want to do with it. But your father asked you a favor never to help Peter and Carl ever again. Those are his two sons. And he keep doing it and picked up those contracts and put them in there. But it isn't anything more than ripping them off. So there's a big difference between Michael and Peter. Right? I mean, it's amazing to sit in front of him and work up a good line for himself. But I don't think he can live with himself unless he's bullshit. That kid. I mean, really. So I mean, you call him over and send him something back, they would never comprehend. No could reach you well. There's no way they comprehended those people. And never again will there be manufacturing on Long Island or anything to do with the military on Long Island. But yes, in heaven it's known as Atlantis. In hell it's known as Long Island. Right? And the Roman is still there in heaven. And there's Jesus Christ's army, which attacked. Right? So if you have these systems, they sit there with microphones and typewriters and talking to these systems down into people that try to swimming around. Yes, psychiatry thinks they're schizophrenia, but not all psychiatrists think that as I taught them. They do believe me. They're being talked to and harassed. Right? Not anything to help them. So, like your book said, it's a really good idea. So we went up there, took the satellites down, see, and just to try that. And I think that's what we're supposed to do. But ultimately, as NASA show, we're inside the Star Trek bridge. It just flutters in the light, starlight there somehow, and they were on a computer monitor, like just like MSN maps. However, that works out in microbiology and the light. They just display us this way. See, but amongst man and woman, men and 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 beasts and false prophet apes. Not that you are, it's just that people determine. I mean, we already made a decision. We already have a standard. And that was not the job. The job was to pick the complete opposite of what the standard is, something reasonable. At that point, the 2 billion from women's will be turned into your account back into theirs. No taxes. 2 billion from the World Trade Center turning out into yours into the small business administration. Nobody wants it. So nobody's working. I don't want anybody working. There's no point in anybody working. It's terrible. And this is good for us. You couldn't put this on the market. Man, if the guys want to look at it, they're gonna look at it. But ultimately, somebody get really pissed off to kick this guy's ass just for the hell of it. Especially at 54. That's true. Usually, he dies of the disease of the AIDS, bronchitis, tuberculosis. and contusion cancer, right? Which, though they're not dead, they keep falling inside themselves. People, or like we saw at the hospital, the black man wraps you in the head with that wooden pipe, and that's what this is. So I would not know what Wyatt Lewis did to you. He says this that he's hit you in the head with a bat with a coyote mold, your personal area, which is the primary experience at the base, right? So that's what I would turn instantly into the alien beings, the different world at the south pole, different out in space, right? Who keep bringing you back here, which I mean, and then you keep getting bumped off, right? So it says here somebody's remarkably different than everybody else, which is very difficult to tell, not unless you work with them. You can't work with them, you can't tell them anything, which is why your father's asking you to leave at 70 years old, right? You keep getting in trouble. It's just a natural thing, right? So if a kid runs away from the land of nativity and ran in a man's car, that's that's a big break. But that is the life he lived, and what happened to, and why it's not a description. I mean, a couple of things there. But that woman sat in that bar had one intention, which was to steal from you, to steal your money. The reason for that is they look at the Social Security rolls and who paid taxes to steal that money from you. Right? Yeah, just right, and then throw you in once. Nobody would know about it, and just see if you get at it. So it was a life. That's a life you lived. And why you never stood up? We don't want to. We picked a standard already. So he lives in the East Coast, goes up and down the coast, but in every single aspect of the Bible, including in heavens. And so, and everybody goes to heaven, everybody goes to hell, everybody goes to translation. So if you drive across the sky, nothing there, and not in heaven, it's like we told you about. So the more you screw up, the more you do the laws of the city and county you're in, like volume on the TV, then the better off you are. But at this point, there's no point for you. So we thought better that you work with us down here, but it works a lot different than you ever thought. So even in your father's death, he went to heaven. Is that amazing? Is that amazing? That God found no fault in that man at all. I mean, who could ever in that situation lose his property, which was set by God for him and Nick to have 8 acres of land, no water fed property, and they actually did do the work. And so did you, and so did Peter and Paul. Right? So we'll end it there.